however soon the bridge is put back into some kind of service, the Ukrainians are likely to take another crack at it.
Putin has described the attack on the bridge to Crimea as terrorism. You might see that as a joke if it wasn't for the fact that Russia retaliated by firing 20 missiles on Zaporizhia, killing at least 13 people. Askold Krushelnycky is a reporter from the Times, reporter with the Times and Times Radio, and joins us from Lviv. Morning, Askold.
Good morning.
Latest news overnight. What's happening? Is it this retaliatory attack? Is that the thing that's on people's minds?
Yes, very much so. The Russians seem to be frustrated and lashing out. You mentioned the city of Zaporizhia, and you said that 17 people had been killed. About over the last 3 days, the city has been hit consistently, and over 65 people was the death toll last night. But overnight, also other cities, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, and Nikopol have been hit, and other cities in the southern or southeastern area of Dnipropetrovsk. So the Russians have intensified their missile strikes, and
is that because of
do see this?
Is that because of the bridge, Askold? And then I suppose
people
go on.
See this as a retaliation for the bridge being blown.
And do we know who and how they blew the bridge? Because you see various conflicting accounts of this even now.
No, as you've said, the Ukrainian security forces play such things that they keep this kind of thing close to their chests. They are suggesting that it's something to do with Russian security forces competing amongst themselves, but that may just be to really to wind up and cause confusion in Russia itself. A more likely theory is that it was some kind of submersible explosive device, like a mini submarine or a little boat, which Ukraine has apparently used before, and has been developed when Ukraine, probably in Soviet times still,
really?
And that seems more likely than, say, a truck bomb, which is what the Russians are saying. But part of the Ukrainian security services and military strategy is to keep the Russians guessing.
And is there any point to this, the explosion, other than the symbolic one? Because it's a bridge to Crimea, so it shows that Ukraine still remembers Crimea and still has a hope of driving Russians out of it. I mean, the bridge looks like it's partially open. This has provoked a lot more retaliation from Russia. Is there a concern that this is little more than a symbol, or is being a symbol important?
Being a symbol is important. On Friday and Saturday, this weekend has seen a lot of Ukrainians celebrating. It was a morale booster, but it's got a very real military significance as well, because it is the main supply route for Russia to bring by rail and by road military supplies and everything else to keep their occupation forces going in Crimea itself, but also their military in southern Ukraine, which is trying to resist an onslaught by Ukrainian forces to retake much of the territory occupied by Russians. So it's very much got a military value, a huge military value. And even though the Russians say it's partially reopened, I was speaking to somebody from the military yesterday who said that even if they get it working again, we now know how to attack it. So he was suggesting that it's something that they can use again, that the same kind of device that blew it up is operational, and that however soon the bridge is put back into some kind of service, the Ukrainians are likely to take another crack at it.
Yeah, that's interesting, and you can imagine the chaos and anger that will cause. Askold, great to speak to you as ever. That's Askold Krushelnycky, a reporter with Times Radio, who joined us from Lviv.